We ready to get this thing started? Yeah, I'll just pop where you are if that's all right. I'll set my laptop here, I'll share it. Then we will just get this rodeo started.
And yeah, I was, sending messages, people, letting it out. Zoom.
That's fine for those internet people.
Online people.
Just, I always forget about them is the problem. Well, just leave it first. It's horrible. Don't put your head down, Josh. People can't know. And every time I teach a class like this, there's such a high camera and I look down and I see my boss, I'm like, who's that old man? What's he doing here? Perfect. Well, I'll share my screen and we'll go ahead and we'll get this thing going.
Quick walk around, make sure there's no one hanging out who needs to come in and then, yeah.
We're good. All right, well, we'll go ahead, we'll get started. I just like to be respectful of people that show up on time. So for those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Joshua Boatman and I am the, put my water. Oh, fantastic. All right, my name is Joshua Boatman and I'm the Regional Technology Director for Keller Williams, Ohio Valley region, which is pretty an incredibly long title. That just means one thing. I actually have one of the best jobs in all of KW. And what I basically get to do is this. I get to sit down and work with people that I respect, you guys and real estate agents who I truly believe are one of the last true entrepreneurs in the country. Like you guys, one of the things I always tell people, like when there's a lot of businesses where we actually talk around and we hear the term changing lives. Well, you actually do have the ability to change lives. Real estate agents are the gatekeeper of wealth in this country, right? Studies have consistently shown that the moment you help a family buy a home, you change the trajectory of their family's life, right? Versus paying into rent, they're paying into debt, things like that. So you guys are amazing people. And I get to talk to you about something that I'm passionate about, which is technology, right? And ultimately what technology is used for and how it can ultimately fit into your business. The first thing I always like to mention when we talk around technology, though, is I like to just give a quick explanation of actually what technology is. Sometimes there's some confusion around it. A lot of times people approach technology that it's a way to make more money. Well, there's never been a technology that was invented that is designed to make you more money. It's not necessarily, that's not the purpose of technology. The purpose of technology is to provide leverage in your life. So ultimately, you can decide what you want to do with that remaining time that it frees up. So while ultimately I do work for the region, and my goal is to help you utilize the KW technology, whether it's Command or Canva with our partnership there. I'm here to help you with any technology that you want to consult into your business. So a little bit of personal things about me. 3 things you're going to learn about me. Previously I was the director of technology for one of the largest global banker franchises in the country for about 15 years. So for the last 20 years or so, this is what I've done. Real estate technology and how it intersects. So I have a wide breadth of knowledge. So I can help you figure out if there is a piece of technology you want to use. I can help you figure out how it fits into your business and if it's the right move or not. Couple quick personal things you're going to quickly learn about me. It's inevitable. It always shows up in trainings. I love 3 things. That's Jesus, craft beer, and kayaking. Inevitably, I'm going to talk about all 3. If you do hear super cool brewery popping up somewhere like this, let me know. I love a little microbrewery. And of course, if you ever want to talk about the Lord, just let me know. All right. So let's get started. A couple ground rules that I typically just lay out when we have trainings. This is your guys' class. Especially when we have a smaller, intimate group like this. Can kind of go in any direction you guys want it to go. Ultimately, I do ask, though, if you have any questions, you just wait until after I leave because it's easier for me to get to my next stop. It's a joke. You can laugh at these things. There's more coming. Be prepared. There's more coming. Laugh now. It's your best chance to make it through. Outside of that, today we're going to cover one of my favorite classes to teach. And this is how to use the home valuation form on command that our technology help generate some seller leads or some seller interests. The reason I really like this class is because a lot of times when you go and you do a training, you show up at family reunion, you go to like a camp, you do whatever it is. A lot of times, it's a lot of people speaking at you saying, go do this, go do this, go do this, go do this. It's more lecture style. You don't really walk away with anything after that class or after that session that you immediately can implement into your business. What's really cool about this is stuff that we can easily implement into your business. And if you follow along a little bit today, they'll do just that. So today is the home valuation page on your command website. The other thing I love about this class is simple. It's 3 parts. The first part is how to either launch your home valuation page or just make sure that it is launched if it's not already launched. Sometimes, if you guys, I don't know if you guys have Scott Leroy marketing here, but sometimes Scott Leroy will set some things up for you, but we're going to confirm how to launch it, how we can make some quick changes to it if you ever want to change it, how it works, just so you have an understanding of how it works. And then that's the first part of the class. If that's all you want is just to understand it, you're free to go. But then if you stick around for that second part, we're then going to talk around how we can identify those leads when they come into command and how we can automatically put them on smart plans for automatic lead follow. So that way, when someone makes an inquiry on a home valuation, you don't have to be the one that tries to follow up that lead immediately. Instead, the system's going to do it for you a little bit. And if you're okay with that, you're like, that's all I need to know, Josh, you're free to go after part 2. But then part 3, we're going to spend just a little bit of time talking about how easy it is to use our Facebook and Instagram and even Google AdWords integration inside of Command, where you can spend a little bit of money to drive traffic to your home valuation page to generate more leads for the automations to kick in. And that'll be the third and final part. So, a couple things as we dive into this. This does require that you have your agent website set up. If you haven't set up your agent website, we're really not going to cover that in this class. That is something your leadership team can help you with. This is being live streamed. I believe this is being recorded, so you'll have access to this. So that is just going to be one of the things we're not going to cover, just to kind of stay on topic with the class. And then the other thing we'll mention, when you're running ads through Instagram and Facebook, you do have to have a Facebook business page set up. If you don't have one set up yet, that's not something we're going to cover today. That's something you can reach out to your leadership team and they can help you with. Or if you want, they can connect you with me, and then later we can hop on a Zoom of some sort to cover that. Does that make sense? All right, fantastic. So first thing we're going to do is let's talk about your agent website and let's talk about your home valuation page, and let's do all those amazing things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to log into your command, and when we're on that main command screen, we're just going to go to the website's applet in the lower left-hand corner. And this is going to take us into the website applet screen. Now, before we actually dive into how to launch this page, how to make sure that it is launched, I am going to briefly cover just a couple quick things, some basic housekeeping regarding your website. So that way we can just make sure that it's the best version of you out there before you start driving traffic to it. So what we're going to do on this right-hand side under settings, we're going to click this manage settings button. When we do, it's going to take us to our manage settings screen. And you're going to notice at the top, we have 2 options. One is site settings that has already been selected. The other is agent profile. The first thing we're going to confirm, and I just want you to be aware of, under site settings, we have an option down here in the lower left-hand corner called forced registration. When we click forced registration, this gives you the ability to turn on forced registration. Imagine that. There are 3 or 4 levels, I should say, of forced registration that is set up. What forced registration basically is, this is how many people or how many listings can someone view on your agent website before we force them to register for an account. By default, everyone is set at unrestricted. You'll notice you have 3 additional options under that. You can do 10 properties, which is, hey, they can view 10 properties before we pop up a box saying, hey, you got to register. They could do 2 properties, which after 2 properties, they get popped up a box, or you could do no property view, which they don't even get a chance to look at one listing. The moment they click on a listing, they're forced to register. This is something everyone should consider turning on. Now, for some of you in the room, you may be sitting there thinking, well, Josh, if I do that, people are just gonna leave my website. They're gonna go find the information somewhere else. No one's gonna sign up for this. I wouldn't sign up for this. But don't take this the wrong way, because I think the same way. That's old person thinking. We think like old people when we think like that, because here's the truth. This next generation of home sellers and buyers, this is the influencer generation. They give their information away all the time. They don't protect their information the way we view it. Sometimes I'm not gonna put my name out there. I don't want that email. I don't want this. I want to protect this. No, because they all are gonna be influencers. They all have TikToks. They all have Instagrams, right? They're all doing those things. As a side note, if you're an agent and you've ever got a phone call, or maybe you've used Boomtown, you've used any of the agent referral companies such as Homelight or Agent Pronto or Fast Expert or whatever it is, you've ever received leads from any of them. The truth is, all they've ever done, all Boomtown has ever done for the last 10 years to generate leads is spend a bunch of money running ads on the internet and drove people to a page that forced them to register. So it does work.
What
So
do you recommend?
what?
Channel 2.
That's a great question. So typically between the 10 and 2, a lot of it just depends on what you're going to do with your business. So here's a great example. If you are someone who runs Facebook ads, or you're driving traffic to your website a lot, right? You're wanting them to be able to view the listing when they run that Facebook ad and things like that. I typically would stay around 2 properties. I would do the 2 property view. It gives them the ability to view the property that you link to, which is important from Facebook ad standards, right? You can't run a Facebook ad driving them to a listing page, and when they hit that listing page, they didn't have to register to view it. That goes against Facebook's policies. So it gives them the chance to look at 1 listing, possibly 2, before they are then prompted to hit their register.
Can you say that again about the Facebook policy?
Yeah, so Facebook generally, so whenever you run a Facebook ad, a good rule of thumb is always this: the Facebook ad has to match the destination has to match the ad that you're sending. So if you say, hey, want to learn more about 123 Sesame Street, and then you send them to your Venmo, or you send them just to your agent homepage, right? Not linking to the information that the ad contains, that can violate Facebook's policy and they can remove your ad. Does that make sense? We just want to make sure that whatever we're advertising, the destination matches. And what we want to avoid is if you had no property viewing on, for instance, you just said, hey, click here to learn more about 123 Sesame Street. They click it, they get then driven to another page where now they have to register to view that information. Facebook doesn't like that.
Is that a paid ad or is that?
That's a paid ad.
Post?
So yeah, these are all paid ads. Post are different
Right.
because post are just you saying, hey, check this out.
Right,
But if Facebook's ad standards,
okay, that's helpful.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great clarifying question. But if you're not running a lot of Facebook ads, then I would put on 10 property view. Give someone that ability to know that they're gonna go here consistently, because keep in mind, it's not them viewing 10 properties cumulative or like in that single session. If they go and they view 2 or 3 properties on their phone, later they come back to your website on the phone, they view 3, 4, 5 more properties, it's cumulative. Once they hit that 10 over any period of time, they then will be prompted. Does that make sense? Yeah. Fantastic. So,
Sorry,
No, go ahead.
between that and the no property viewing. Or just general viewers, I guess. If you're not running ads, what is the data suggest is a better number?
what I have seen people have more success with is just doing, if you're not running ads, if you just have a general website that people are getting to because they're just finding it organically, because maybe you're sharing your listings and things like that, the 10 property views is where you generally want to be.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect, awesome. All right, so just something you want to be aware of, a couple things to note whenever we talk about any changes on our websites today. For the majority of the time, the change is pretty instantaneous, typically within 5 to 10 minutes. Unfortunately, sometimes though, it can take up to 4 to 8 hours, 4 to 8 hours for some of these changes to be reflected. Sometimes the forced registrations, that process. So if you turn it on now and then later you try to go to it, and it doesn't work, like you're like, it's not turned on, and you just did it 10 minutes ago, give it some time, because it does take some time for that to kind of matriculate through the system. All right, the next quick thing we're gonna talk about your agent sites, just to make sure we get you all set up in the preferred way, is gonna be under the agent profile section at the top. When we click on this, it's gonna take us to this amazing screen where you can plug in your photo, your contact info, your bio, any of your preferred job titles. Do you have a slogan? Any credentials? Are you in military affiliation? Any of all this information that you want to publicly display about yourself on your consumer platform is controlled here. So before we start spending money, we start driving traffic, let's just make sure that it's the right phone number, it's the right email address, right? So that anybody that wants to get a hold of you has the ability to get a hold of you. Does that make sense? The last quick thing I'm gonna mention is over here on this left-hand side, it says service areas. A lot of people are not aware of service areas. So when we click on service areas, this is the ability for you to designate your service areas. So if someone were to go to kw.com, the national site, and they were looking to find a real estate agent, and they typed in Dayton, Ohio, if you didn't have Dayton, Ohio as a service area, but you want to serve that area, you would not show up. So this is where you have that ability to kind of pick and choose where you want to show up within a search result on kw.com when someone's trying to find an agent. Does that make sense? Just be aware of it. If you're like, Josh, I don't know what to do yet. I don't quite know. I'm new to the business. That's okay. Go ahead and click inherit your market center service areas, so that way you show up somewhere. You can always come back to this screen later and change it. This isn't a one and done thing. This is something that can change with you as your business changes. Any quick questions regarding that? Couple things? Fantastic. All right. So now let's actually dive into the website itself. And so we're gonna just walk through how easy it is to launch your home valuation page. In addition, this is how you can also tell if you already have one, right? Some of you may already have one set up, just depends upon the services your market center provides, but it's really, really easy. So what we're gonna do on this website applet, right? We just went to websites on the left-hand side. We're gonna click this manage website button. When we do, it's gonna take us to our manage website screen. We're gonna notice on the left-hand side, we have three options. Pages is highlighted in green. Then, of course, we have the ability to add some content, and then the design studio. For our purposes, we're gonna stay on pages. And then on this left-hand side, we see this option here called create page. When we click it, it's gonna bring up this amazing template screen. We have 4 available templates. One of those templates is home valuation.
Wait, I missed it.
That's all right. So
So I'm in that page.
we're gonna click create page down at the lower left-hand
Okay,
corner.
okay, yeah,
Perfect. And that brings up that template screen.
okay.
And then in that lower left-hand corner of that screen, we see that amazing home valuation option. You may already have this set up. A quick way for us to find out is to do this. We click select template. We see it highlighted it in green. And then in the lower right-hand corner, we have that create page button. We easily just create that page. It's gonna pop up. We already have a default title. To launch this page, all we have to do is hit publish in the upper right-hand corner. And if you get a message that says, hey, this already belongs to another page, that means you already have it set up. So no harm, no foul. But if you didn't, I'll show you what it would look like. When we publish it, we're just gonna click publish and it will say, hey, your page was published successfully. And now we have a valid home valuation page.
Says, this time is being used on another page, so that means I already
Yep, you
have.
already have it set up. You're good to go.
Hey, Josh,
Yes, sir.
this is taking us back a few steps now, I don't want to be real, but
Yeah, no
you
worries.
said we have to have the website already set up.
That is correct.
If we're on a team, do we need to
Oh, that's a fantastic question. I didn't even really think about addressing this from the idea if you're using a team website. If you're on a team website, or if you're on a team, the team has a website, depending upon your permission level, you may not have the ability to edit and or change things on the team.
On
To-
command.
On the actual team website. That's
No,
correct.
on command.
Yeah, through the team website is through commands, right?
Oh, yeah, through command, 100%.
So do you know, and maybe somebody already knows this, but we don't have, we're on a team here, we don't have our own personal website.
So you can. But that's ultimately a decision between you and your rainmaker and whatever, however they want to handle that. A lot of times, not to go too far down the rabbit hole. Everyone has the ability to have their own personal website if they want. A lot of times on teams, though, teams are structured in a way that we want to drive all the traffic to the team website. So that way all the contacts end up in the team contacts. So the opportunities, so we can leverage the power of the team.
Okay. It's just a quick follow-up question. So I would, when you set up the website, if you're just an individual agent, is that where it says website, where would you find that if you were?
Sure, yeah, I'll point you in the right direction here. So when you are on the website applet, all you would do, and let me actually switch to my solo account real quick, this will just make a little bit more sense. When you click manage settings, the first thing you would want to do under site settings, you're gonna see an option here called team subdomain in the lower left-hand corner, right? So we just went website applet, the settings that we were in before to see the site settings. There is in the lower left-hand corner, this team subdomain. This is where you would type in whatever you want your subdomain to be. Check the box to say, yes, I want to claim it, and then click that claim subdomain button in the lower right-hand corner. And then typically it takes about 12 hours for your site to go live. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You would just need to make sure that you're under your solo account, which is typically get identified with your name and then the word business at the end of it versus your team account. So for instance, this is my solo account, the Josh Boatman business, but my team is Josh Boatman Group. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Great
Can I
question.
ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
So are our properties on our site, when they're in coming soon status, we don't see them? They're not on our site.
So that is a question regarding, I can't answer that question other than that's a question for you to have a conversation with your MLS. So we pull all the information from the MLS.
Okay, so but if it's on the MLS
No, not if it's on the MLS, if the MLS shares that.
with us.
That's
Okay,
correct.
got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if your MLS shares coming soons to everybody, then we should have the ability to surface those coming soons on our website. But some MLSs keep them internal so that only inside the MLS you can see the coming soon.
So
Okay.
just to check, I'm sorry,
Yeah, you're fine.
this title is being used on.
That
the
just
other
means-
page, Means we already.
You already have it.
Okay.
Yep, and we're gonna walk through how you can find that link next. Did you have a question?
Yeah, my question was just, I don't have my site fully set up yet.
Sure.
Is that gonna interfere with training?
The only difference for you is you're probably not gonna be able to do some of the action steps today, like actually test your home
There.
valuation page and stuff like that. So, but generally, this will be beneficial because you'll learn some things.
A little closer there.
Yeah, go right ahead. Come to the front row. It's not like church, like everyone can get closer if they want, just come on. All right. So we talked real briefly how to launch your agent with your home valuation page, and how to determine if it's already there. But let's say you do want to make a change because there is a template that does get launched. So that has like a YouTube video. Maybe you want to change the name of it. Maybe you want to change some of the graphics on the website to make it look a little bit different. While we're not going to cover full customization, I'm just going to show you how to get where you can go to do some poking around so that you know, right? Very, very easy. So from this screen, if we're already on this screen, we're going to click that manage website. If we're already on the screen that we were just on, where it was basically saying, hey, your page already exists, all we're going to do, and in the upper right-hand corner here, is click this button called expert mode. Now, as I click on expert mode and I give it a chance to load, I'm going to brace yourself. It's going to get a little nerdy, right? It's going to get a little nerdy here. Just be prepared. We're going to get a little nerdy. It's okay. So this is expert mode. All expert mode does is allow you to do more than what the previous mode allowed you to do. It does the exact same things, so just to give you some handles. Under this quick start section, for instance, you'll notice there's this option here for home valuation. This is another way to launch a home valuation page. You don't need to do it, we've already done it, or it's already been done for you, but just want to show you. The quick start section is just a template section that you can use to launch another page. If you're interested in exploring your agent websites further, one of the things that I would recommend you play with a little bit later is this property landing page template. This is where you have the ability to launch a property landing page that allows you to customize a property page a little bit differently. It's a little bit more luxurious feeling. You can upload videos, you can upload your high resolution photos that your videographer took versus the low quality ones that end up coming over from the MLS because the MLS downgrades all the qualities, things like that. This is just a unique way to present your property if you're interested in doing just that. This would be something that, especially if you're looking to add value to your listing presentation, you know, when you sit down at the list, you're like, here's all the things that I'm gonna offer you. If you're comfortable with launching a property landing page, that's something I would add in that listing presentation. Because at the end of the day, when you're having that value conversation, it's all about showing all the things that you're doing for your negotiated commission that the other person isn't doing for their negotiated commission that they're interviewing. Does that kind of make sense? But just to show you how to make sure, and this is the other thing, if we start to scroll down on this page, we're gonna see a bunch of things. And then what we're gonna see under custom pages, we're hopefully gonna see a page called Discover Your Home's Worth. You probably see that. That's your templated page that you either launched right now or was already launched for you. If we wanted to make some changes to it, all we have to do is just click on it. And this is gonna bring up an even nerdier screen. It's getting real nerdy. But this is really simple once you understand what we're seeing here. The left-hand side is how we edit what appears in the preview on the right-hand side. So basically, all the right-hand side is just a preview of what we change over here. So if, for instance, you didn't like this hands on a keyboard, of course, it's a Mac, they're just taking over. You could notice that we have that same hand here, and then we'd have the ability to change it to a different graphic if we wanted to, various things like that. We don't need to do it. Template is set up 100%, will work just as is. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of context on how this works. If you're like, Josh, that's fantastic. How do I make sure I know exactly where my home valuation page is? If you need a direct link to it, you can always click at the top of this screen. Right now, we're under the main section. We're going to notice there's this option called URLs or URLs. When we click it, there's going to be this hyperlink that if we then click that hyperlink, it's going to immediately take us to the page that we are on, that we've launched. And this is the public URL that you could share, various things like that. Additionally, for most of you, when you go to your agent website, if you go to the more section, you're going to see it appear in this list somewhere when that page is launched in this line.
You can copy and paste that to Facebook or whatever.
Whatever you want to do, you can turn it into a
Straight
QR
page.
code. That's correct. You can do all of it. And later I can show you how to easily make a QR code if you're interested in that as well.
Can you edit it since you have it as like, what's your home worth for?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can come back to main and I could change, I can change all of that on this particular screen. So I would need to clear my changes here, changes. But I would be able to edit it, and then whatever I type in here, so you can see here's the 4 here. If I change it here, we'll see the preview changes there. And then I hit publish to save those changes. Does that make sense?
Hey Josh, just so we can catch up, this is another domain question, but if we do a subdomain now, are we able to change it later so we can just get started?
100%. You can do a subdomain now. Just one thing to keep in mind. When you change that subdomain, whatever you previously were, you free up for someone else to take. So if you were josh.kw.com and then later I changed to the joshboatmangroup.kw.com, someone else could claim josh.kw.com. Does that make sense? Perfect, great questions. All right. I promise you that's the depth of the nerdiness. The rest of this stuff's gonna be pretty high level stuff that's gonna be easier to follow. But I do like to give you guys just a little bit of a foundation, just so that way you have an understanding on how to get in there and mess some things up if we want to. Right? Yes, ma'am.
So the home valuation that it comes up with, is that something where it's like, well, I saw on Zillow and it was this, and then we have to like talk it down or something like that? Is it
Well,
pretty?
we're gonna talk through all that. We're gonna
Okay,
demo
cool.
it right now. That's the next thing we're gonna do. So we have our home valuation page. This is fantastic. You know where it is, you know how to drive traffic to it. Now we're gonna talk around how it works, so that way you're prepared for the conversations that it generates. So this is pretty simple.
Sorry, can we just go back?
Sure.
So we clicked on the URL, we're in the,
Yep, so that blue link right
Yeah.
there, you're just gonna click on
I
that.
click on the blue link.
Yep,
Okay,
and that's
okay,
gonna
okay.
load up your home valuation
Got it.
page. And then that's gonna be the URL you would copy.
Okay,
All right, so here's what happens, right? Someone goes to this page through, either you shared it on Facebook, you did a QR code, right? You ran Facebook ads that we're gonna talk about later. You drove traffic to this page, someone goes to this page, they're curious about their home's worth. This is what they're gonna do. They're gonna type in their address. Someone quick, give me a residential address.
2149 Cathedral Avenue.
Cathedral, I love it. All right, perfect. They're going to, you're gonna notice it does Google addressing. It takes the GPS location of where we are and helps them locate that address. They then are gonna click the Let's Go button. It's gonna pop up this box. And in this box, it's gonna capture their first name, last name, email address, and a phone number if they want to provide it. So let's just type it in. And I'll just put in this email address here real quick. I'm not gonna put in a phone number. They do have to check a box. If they were to put in a phone number, there'd be some additional boxes they'd have to check for TCPA compliance and, various things like that. Now, before I hit get my valuation, I want to explain to you what happens next. The moment they hit get my valuation, you have captured their information. It is on its way to your command. The information they've entered here is now created as a contact. You will receive an email as well as a push notification if you have your command mobile up and running. And in their contact under their timeline, we'll see the address they just entered, the Cathedral Avenue, whatever it is. And then we're gonna see the results of the home valuation. Right? They don't have to do anything else. The moment they hit that, we got their info. Now, the home valuation is going to do one of two things. When we hit that get my valuation button, it's either gonna be able to provide a valuation or it might not be able to provide a valuation. There's a chance it could say, oh, we were unable to provide a valuation. That's okay. When it does provide a valuation, it's never gonna provide a specific price, but it's gonna provide a range. Sometimes that range could be, you may be intimately familiar with this area and that range could be incredibly high. Sometimes that range could be incredibly low. It doesn't matter. The conversation that we have around this home valuation tool is pretty simple. This tool, while we do attempt and we do want it to be accurate-ish, there's a reason we provide a range. Right? Zillow's Z estimate, yes, I see Z estimate, it's not his estimate, right? They don't get to make their own words. I think Zillow's a dumb name. Great name for a pillow. I would sleep on a Zillow. I buy a big old body one and I cuddle it up at night. But here's the truth, that we know that that's not accurate. The purpose of this is not accuracy, it's capturing interest to start a conversation. Because here's the truth. The day the internet is so good and AI knows everything about everyone's everywhere all the time, and it can 100% accurately determine a home's value without ever actually walking through that home, they're coming for our jobs, right? Like that, you know what I mean? Like, so this is just to start a conversation. So if it doesn't provide a valuation, that's okay. You're gonna see that it didn't provide a valuation. Your conversation goes very similar to like this. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I saw they used my home valuation tool and I saw that we were unable to provide a valuation for you. Well, in today's current changing markets and things like that, a lot of times when we can't provide an automated valuation is because there's just not enough real estate being bought and sold around where your home is. But what I would love to do is stop by in 15-20 minutes and do a quick home equity report to give you an accurate view of what your home's value is in today's market. If it's wildly high, same conversation. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, saw we provided a valuation. That's fantastic. As you know, that is just a valuation based upon publicly available information. I would love the ability to stop by and do a 15-20 minute tour of your home to give you an accurate home valuation for today's current market. If it's low, it's the same idea. If you're like, but if it's low and they know it's worth more, they're gonna be upset. Just blame the AI, say, hey, it's an AI tool. It doesn't know all the amazing things that you've done to your home, the time and the intention and the care that you've done. It doesn't know that you illegally put in that bedroom in the basement and never reported it to the property tax, so you don't have to like pay more tax, right? It doesn't know. Who needs an egress window, right? Just squeeze on through it, just squeeze through. The fire's hot enough, you're getting out, just squeeze through, right? So I just want to set the stage there, because sometimes what happens when we don't get the result that we think as an agent, we immediately think that we shouldn't use the tool. The tool's effectiveness is not the accuracy, it's the conversation that starts. Does that make sense? Okay. Fantastic. Let's get my valuation. Fantastic. This is 271,000 to 326,000. Have no idea, know nothing about the area of the property. Don't know if that's accurate or not. But we provided a valuation. And then and only then do they also get this additional option if they wanted to send an additional message. Hey, do you want to send a note to Josh at the Josh Boatman group? Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter if they send this message or not. We've captured their information already. Does that make sense? If they do send a message, if they type something in, you will get an additional notification letting you know, like, holy crap, they clicked another button. They're really wanting to talk to us. You will get that notification. It will be logged in their contact timeline. That's the basis of the first part of the class, the home valuation tool, how the page works. You drive traffic to it, and you start capturing interest to have conversations with people who we ultimately know this. If someone's interested in what their home's worth, they might be interested in selling, right? Very rarely does someone want to know what something's worth if they're not interested in possibly letting it go. Any questions thus far? Fantastic. All right, cool. So a couple other quick things that we're going to talk about now. We're going to go into part two. Part two is pretty simple. How do we then have these leads we generate through our home valuation tool? When they enter a command, how do we have them hit a smart plan? So a couple quick things to make this a little bit easier. We're going to go back to our main command page. So we're just going to go back to the main screen we're on inside of command. So we're on that command tab. And I'm going to show you an example of a lead that I've used previously that came through this home valuation tool, just so I can walk you through a couple things. So for instance, I have this lead. We'll click on Sagewood. When I click on this lead that came through, there's a couple things I just want to point out to you. Over here under the timeline section, we can see here is what it shows. It shows that they made a home valuation request. We can see what that reported range was, but we can see even the address that they entered in, right? So you see we have all that information. Additionally, over here on the left-hand side where we have lead source, we see that it shows the lead source is home valuation and in parentheses the word site. This is incredibly important. Home valuation in parentheses the word site. When leads come in through this page, this is how we identify the lead source, right? As an aside, here is my plea to you. I've been consulting real estate agents on their business for 20 years. And especially when it comes to technology, one of the most underutilized things realtors never fill out, or they're never consistent with, is lead source. If you actually want to run this like a business, every contact, whether it's in a tool like Command, whether it's on a spreadsheet in Excel, doesn't matter. Everybody should have a lead source. You should identify how everyone entered into your database. My grandpa Boatman used to always say, you can't manage what you can't measure. And if at the end of every year, you have no idea where your 100 leads came from, you have no idea where to spend your efforts the next year. Does that make sense? So lead source is important. Inevitably, someone will say, Josh, well, I don't use lead sources, Josh, I use tags. Tags, lead sources, same thing. Well, here's the truth. Tags can be lead sources, or lead sources can be a tag. But you always want a lead source, and here's a great example. Let's say I meet Jimmy, and I meet Jimmy through my church, right? I put him in my database, I tag him with church, so that way when I'm communicating with my church peeps and I'm inviting them to an event or whatever it is, I filter by that tag. A couple years go by, and now Jimmy's moved to Florida. Well, I'm not going to communicate locally to Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, come by the church Tuesday night, right? I'm going to remove that church tag. Now I don't have a way to identify where Jimmy came from. Lead sources never change. Tags change all the time. They never, how someone entered your database never changes. Never changes. So just do me a favor when you think about adding people to your database, look at the available lead sources, create lead sources, manage where that business is coming from so you can decide where your efforts are best spent. Does that make sense? All right. So a couple of next things, right? We've identified this lead source. Fantastic. Home valuation, site in parentheses. Fantastic. Now, what we're going to do is use this lead source as a way to trigger a smart plan. But before we can set that up, we need a smart plan first, right? For us to walk through this process, it makes sense for us to have a smart plan first. So I'm going to walk you through on how to download a smart plan that I've written specifically for the home valuation tool. I think it's a pretty good smart plan. If you don't like it, that's okay. You can use it as a basis and then change it to suit your needs and your image and your voice. But to locate it, it's incredibly easy. On that left-hand side, we're going to click the Smart Plans applet. Right, we're now in Smart Plans. And of course, across the top, we have Plans, which shows our existing plans. And then we have Library, which lets us search the entire Smart Plans library. Under this search option, the first thing we're going to do is click where it says Smart Plan Name. We're going to drop this down and we're going to select Author Name. And in this box, we're going to type in my last name, Boatman, B-O-A-T-M-A-N. True story, and when I was 22, I thought about dropping the O and becoming Josh Batman. Real talk. I was concerned about the legal implications though. Could you get sued for that? I don't know how that works.
I should go for it.
I don't know. It feels now, I feel like I missed
You're
it.
already wearing black.
That's true. It's true.
It's so old that there probably isn't.
It's true. What do they think? But it's gonna bring up a list of all my smart plans that I published to the library. And if you look in the lower right-hand corner, you're gonna see one called Home Valuation Follow-up. 4 texts, 3 emails, 1 call. You're gonna notice it's a 16-day smart plan. This smart plan runs for 16 days. And over that 16-day period, there are 9 touches to the client. 4 text messages, 3 emails, a phone call. And then one additional thing that you'll do. You'll make a decision point. So you'll see that 84 people have downloaded it. That's fantastic. You'll see that I've received 10 5-star ratings. If you download it and you don't like it, don't be one of those people. Let me maintain my 5 stars. Just if you don't like it, don't rate it. It's fine. But I'm going to quickly show you how it works, just so you have an idea. So when I click this view steps, this is the genesis of it. The day someone enters that smart plan, it creates a touch task for you to place a phone call with them or communicate with them in some way. It then immediately sends an email, sends a text message trying to communicate with them. It sends the text via Twilio if you have Twilio set up in command. As an aside, if we're not going to cover this too much, if you have questions around Twilio after this class, I'm going to be around. But if you don't have Twilio yet set up inside your command account, set up Twilio. Set it up, it's totally worth it. Then it waits 3 days and then sends another text. It waits 2 days, sends another email, sends another text, sends another email, sends another text on day 14. creates a task and then sends one last text message. And the task that it creates at the end of day 16 is it's kind of like a catch-all task. It basically just says, hey, this person has not responded or you haven't connected with them because they're still on the smart plan. So what do you want to do with this lead next? Right? Do you want to put it on a long-term nurture? Do you just want to say, hey, I don't want to deal with them. If they don't want to talk to me, I'm going to delete them. I wouldn't do that. But you have the ability to then know that, hey, this lead didn't qualify, didn't do something. What's your next step of action? Very simple smart plan. Feel free to download it and change it. If you want to download it, it's real simple. We just click that add smart plan button in the lower right-hand corner of this step section or in the lower right-hand corner of the actual smart plan card itself. That downloads the smart plan to our library. Simple enough.
Hey, Josh.
Yep.
I have a couple of questions about this. One is those steps in the plan are ones that are pre-made, they're not flexible.
No, you can change whatever you want.
Well, I mean, you can change them, but they're not like AI run where they're adapting to what information's been given.
No, these are all static pieces of information
Static.
that you would change to fit whatever you're looking for it to say.
So without Twilio, it's not doing it automatically. We have to do it ourselves, correct?
So in this particular smart plan, if you don't have Twilio set up, the emails will still trigger because everyone has access to sending email through command email. The text will get turned into text steps that you will then be prompted to send a text message if you want. Does that make sense?
And if they reply, is that end the smart plan automatically?
What a great question, because I'm gonna cover that next. So when we have a smart plan and we have it downloaded in our library, we go to the plan section. Fantastic. Let me see if I have this. I'll just click, doesn't really matter which smart plan I'm in. But when you find that smart plan and you hit the pencil on the right-hand side, which lets you edit the smart plan. On the right-hand side of any smart plan you edit, we're gonna see this section here called Smart Plan Details. And then under Smart Plan Details, down at the bottom, we have this section called Auto Add, Remove Rules. And then below that, we have Remove Contact When, and there are 2 checkboxes. If you check the box next to the one that talks about email, if the contact replies to an email from the smart plan, it removes them from the smart plan. If you check the box saying, hey, remove them from the smart plan, if they reply to the text message, it removes them from the smart plan. This is not contact specific. This is smart plan specific. So said another way, if you want these features turned on, you will have to turn them on individually for every single smart plan you want to use. Right? When you download a smart plan from the library, these are not checked by default. This is something you need to check. To give a quick example as to why this is important, whenever you have a smart plan that you're looking to trigger a connection, you want them to respond. You want that ability that if they respond, they get dropped from that smart plan so you don't run into that weird, awkward scenario where they respond, you start having a conversation and then you forget to go and remove them from that smart plan. And while I'm having a great conversation with Ryan around his home valuation, he gets another text message from me saying, hey, are you still interested in a home valuation? And then it becomes this weird, like, they're like, oh, wait, was this you, not you? Was this, what number is this? Right? So when you turn these features on, it removes them. We only turn these features on when we want them removed from a smart plan that we are looking for them to reach out, that we're trying to connect with the client. Just ma'am.
I missed how you got there.
Oh yeah, perfect. So we downloaded the smart plan from the library or any smart plan. When you are now, we were under the library section, for instance, if we go back to the plans section, we're gonna see, we can locate that smart plan or any smart plan. It doesn't really matter. You would just change it for each one. As an example, I'm gonna do this top smart plan. We're gonna hit that pencil all the way to the right. And then the moment we hit that smart plan, we see smart plan details on the right-hand side, and it's gonna be towards the bottom of the screen. We'll check those appropriate boxes. We'll hit save if we want to save that plan. And now we're on our way. Simple enough. All right. We've downloaded the smart plan. How do we now get that lead when it comes through that home valuation page? How do we get it onto this smart plan? That's what we're going to cover next. Couple things for those of you on a team, if you're on a team, we're gonna walk through the strokes of this, but generally depending upon your permission level of the team, the operations or the rainmaker would need to set up this next piece. Most agents on the team don't have the permissions to make these types of changes, so these would be conversations you would have to have with your team lead and whatnot.
Hey, Josh, I got a quick question. Let's say you send out a home evaluation or a home valuation thing and somebody you already have in your database clicks on it and then are they forced to register as well? And then when they do, does it sync up the contact?
Fantastic question. If someone that's already in your database fills that out, if they're not logged into your website, like they're not logged in.
Right.
They will fill out. It will just add this, you'll still get a notification saying someone filled out a home valuation, it just adds this to their timeline.
Okay.
So it doesn't create a new contact, you don't have two Josh Boatmans, right? It just adds it as another piece of data to their contact, does that make sense?
Will it also trigger the?
It will not, so it will not trigger that, that's a great call, because if the lead source hasn't changed, your contact entered the database already, this is all based off of a lead source trigger. Does that make sense? Fantastic question. No one's ever asked that question in this class. Great question. I'll cover that in the future for sure. All right. So now let's build the lead routes. Very, very easy to do. From your command screen, doesn't matter which screen we're on, we're gonna go in the upper right-hand corner and click your name. And actually, I'm gonna switch my account, so let me switch my account real quick, just so that way it mimics what most of you are probably gonna see. When you click your name, you're gonna click settings at the bottom. This is gonna take us into our command settings. On the left-hand side, we see we have a bunch of options here, general settings, command settings, connect settings, so on and so forth. We are gonna select command settings. And that's gonna give us even more options. Well, since we're dealing with contacts, right? These are leads, we're dealing with how we want to handle people who enter our contacts database. We're gonna select contacts. And you're gonna notice that reveals even more options, right? It's like the Russian nesting dolls, inside of a doll, inside of a doll, inside of a doll. It's Inception. We're then gonna click the lead management option. When we do that, that takes us to the lead management screen where we have the ability to create a lead management rule. Very easy to do. To create that rule, we're going to click the green Create Rule button in the upper right-hand corner. That's going to bring up a dialog that looks very similar to this. We're just going to fill out the things we need to fill out, which is pretty simple. We're going to give the rule a title. So we can call it home valuation, route, you can call it whatever you want. Whatever you call it, it doesn't matter because you're the only one that sees it. This is just so that way visually you know that this is the home valuation lead route. You call it HV for all I care, right? You call it whatever you want. Let your creative juices flow. Then below that, we have lead source. We're going to drop this down and we can of course search here. We start typing in the word home, we're going to see a bunch of the available lead sources already inside a command. And as you notice, one of them is called home valuation with the word site in a parentheses. If that looks familiar, it should, because that's the lead source of the lead that when we sent it into the page, that was the lead source that it was attributed to. So we're going to go ahead, we can check that box. And then it's going to say, hey, what do you want to have happen to these leads? When leads come from this source, what do we want to have happen next? You could have it get tagged if you have a home valuation tag, if that's something you want to do. But what we're going to focus on is the assign to smart plans. You would locate the smart plan you want it to be assigned to. In this case, you could easily select the my home valuation checkbox or the smart plan and then create the rule.
If you don't
Simple.
assign it to a plane, it won't do it.
It won't, yeah, because you have to do something, either you're assigning it to a plan or you're applying a tag to it, or you could do both. But if you don't do anything, then there's nothing for the rule to do. But but just that simple.
So the rule was follow up for Texas.
Yeah, so basically now what happens with this rule in place, right? A lead comes through, they fill out your home valuation. As always, you get notified, you're getting emails, you're getting texts, you're getting, so you know that you have a new lead that came in. Now, with this rule in place, because they were brand new to our database, they received that lead source of home valuation, right? They are then immediately applied to that smart plan, which triggers the emails, the text messages. All the things we talked about briefly that smart plan does, that contact is now on that smart plan. And the system is gonna start communicating with them to try to get a response that you then are alerted to come alongside them to then take over the conversation. Does that make sense? And that's part 2 of the class. That's it. Right? We did part 1. Part 1, we created that home valuation page. Pretty simple. Part 2, we downloaded a smart plan. We created a lead rule and we said, hey, when leads come from this source, which is the home valuation page, put them on this smart plan. Bada bing, bada boom, right? That's what old people used to say for young people. Bada bing, bada boom is an old Goodfellas reference, possibly. Maybe Godfather, I can't remember.
Is there a reason why I wouldn't have the same selection of smart plans as you?
So what you saw on that giant list of smart plans themselves, those are, I have multiple smart plans in my library. So if you haven't downloaded a bunch of smart plans, you're only gonna see what's available in your list. Does
Where
that
are
make
you
sense?
downloading those?
From the library that we showed earlier.
Okay, yeah,
So when you go to the
yeah.
library and you.
But I mean, I'm talking about like when I go into the library, I'm not seeing everything, like I was looking specifically for that home evaluation.
Sure.
Right?
Search by.
So you're under smart plan name, so drop that down. Select author name. Okay, and then type in my last name, Boatman, Boatman. Then just. Then there you go, there it is, and you have smart plan. Right. Perfect, awesome, all right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So now we're on to step 3. And we're almost done. This is very, very simple, very, very easy, but I'm gonna recap a couple quick things before we dive into this step. We're gonna talk about how to run a Facebook, Instagram ad through command that you can then use to drive traffic to this. Let's see, Ryan. Couple things with this, you have to have that Facebook business page already set up. If you don't, we're not covering that today. Talk to the leadership team, they can help you with that.
Gonna be a Facebook business page, or
Facebook.
just be a personal?
So it's a great question. That's next I'm gonna explain. To have a business page, you have to run ads through a business page, but to have a business page, you have to have a personal Facebook account. So you would use your personal Facebook to then set up a business page. It's not a business account, it's just a page that's attached to your personal Facebook. Number 2, when you run a Facebook ad, you're gonna wanna generate a graphic, you're gonna wanna generate an image, you're gonna wanna do things like that. I am not gonna walk you through on how to design something in Canva, that's not the genesis of this class. But because we do have this amazing partnership with Canva, right, everyone here has access to Canva Pro now. With this amazing flagship partnership that we have with them. You have the ability to go into Canva, and there are millions of social media graphics you can locate. There's even a whole slew of templates that are available to you that have been built specifically for KW agents. We're not gonna necessarily cover it, I'm gonna use a generic image in a sense, just as I need to plug something in. But if you need help with that, you have an amazing social media. I was just talking with the young lady that sits up at the front, I can't, Lauren. Very talented, sure would be more than happy to help you do some to create a social media graphic for your home valuation page. Fantastic resource. So with those 2 things said, let's walk through how easy it is to launch a Facebook ad inside of Command. So what we're gonna do is on the left-hand side of Command, right, we're gonna click on that bullhorn icon, that marketing icon. This is gonna take us to our marketing applet. Once we're inside this marketing applet, just as a call out, if you want to quickly access your KW Canva account, or what I've been referring to it as Canva. It's not taking on yet, but I'm working on it. I'm thinking one day it's gonna be like, oh, did you Google it? They're like, oh yeah, log into Canva. It's gonna happen. You can quickly access that. We want to run a paid ad. So at the top of the screen, we're gonna select the paid ads option. This is gonna take us into our paid ad experience, which you're gonna notice we have 6 options along the bottom. Now, a couple of these options are different. You're gonna see some of them have Facebook and Instagram, some of them have Google, Facebook, and Instagram, some of them just have Google. These indicate when you run this ad, where the lead is gonna show up. So, couple things to note with that. I mentioned you have to have a Facebook business page. You do not have to have an Instagram account or an Instagram business account for this ad to show up on Instagram. Because Meta owns Facebook, because Meta owns Instagram, Meta's all about spending your dollars, right? They want to make it as easy on you as possible to spend those dollars. So you just need that Facebook business account and then it will run ads on Instagram as well. The Google symbol is if you want an ad to run on a Google search or Google AdWords, right? This is a little bit different. We're not necessarily going to cover this, but just note this. This is where if you want an ad to show up for someone, say for instance, they do home valuation. What's my home worth in Cincinnati? You could set up a Google ad that grabs those keywords. What's my home worth in Cincinnati? And then your ad could pull to the top of that Google search result. People could click to hit your home valuation page to then fill out your results, hit your smart plan, things like that. The biggest difference between the two, when you're like, well, should I do Google or should I do Facebook, Instagram? Here's the truth. It's better to start with Facebook, Instagram because the buy-in is lower. When you run a Google AdWord, the monthly expense is higher. It's a couple $100 a month. And the way Google basically works, it's the long-term play. So you just don't run Google ads for a month and expect a result. You need to make sure that you're going in there and you're going to be running ads for the next 6 months minimum to actually start to get the return on your investment. Does that make sense? So we're going to look at the 6 different ad types that we have. And even though it sounds crazy, this is the easiest one for us to use for these purposes. We're going to do the promote events option. You're like, but it's not an event, it's a home valuation page. Well, it's kind of an event. We're trying to like, hey, come check out what your page is worth or your home is worth, right? It's open all the time, 24/7. Don't even have to leave home, right? But this is just the easiest ad type for us to structure what we want to do next. So we're going to click on the promote events. We're going to kind of ignore this top section. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to the creative section. So the creative section, this is where you can upload your social media graphic that you created in Canva, or if you've done a video that you want to upload, whatever it is, this is where you upload those graphics. So for my purposes, I'm just going to select the graphic that I have uploaded. And you'll notice as we're creating the ad on the left-hand side, we're previewing what the ad looks like on the right-hand side. Our body text and our headline, this is the text that shows up here. If you need help with this, what do I say? I don't know what to say. Leverage AI as a tool. Say, hey, I'm launching a home valuation ad for the Cincinnati area or whatever area you want to target. And say, what would be a good body text and headline to use for my Facebook ad? What would be a good image to use? What should I look for? What do you see with your vast knowledge of, it should be a picture of a home, should be a picture of people jumping in the air? What do you recommend, and use that as a guide? The next thing is going to be the targeting area. This is where you get to pick where this ad is going to be targeted. You have the locations section here. This is where you can type in up to 10 cities, zip codes, or a mix. So for instance, I live in Dayton, Ohio. I'm going to add Dayton, Ohio. But I also live in Troy, Ohio. So I'm going to add Troy. And maybe I want to add Marysville, Ohio. Right? So I can have one ad target multiple areas. So if you want to run the home valuation play across different areas, you want to do it Westchester, Monroe, whatever, Blue Ash. I don't know anything about Cincinnati other than the Reds. I go all the time and they lose. But it's unfortunate. Bengals about to win a Super Bowl though. It's about to happen. About to go down.
Josh, is it just the radius?
So it's the radius, so it picks the center of the point, and then it shows you the radius, and then that's the next thing. The radius, the minimum you can do is 15-mile radius.
So you can't do like by zip code or,
Well, you can do zip code, like if you plug in the zip code, it just does the zip code radius as well, so like it does what it does. So it's gonna find whatever that city is. And then it's gonna do the radius of it, does that make sense? So it's going to take that, so it's not just gonna be specifically
right,
the zip code itself, but the radius of whatever that zip code's mapped to.
So what if you don't have programs?
Well, if you only, say that again,
I think I don't have program, I don't have like the targeting.
well, so the next step would be, so go ahead to the new program. And then it's gonna bring up the same thing, so here, go to promote event. So we were just on the dashboard screen, we clicked on programs, which is not a big deal, and now, we're here. So it looks like you may not have everything set up in here, so this would just be things you would need to add your business logo first, save changes, and then you can see the other things that you need to see. So it's just not fully set up. But great call out. All right. So a couple things to note. I always like to mention. Why 15-mile radius? Why can't we go lower? Fair housing. Right? The beautiful part about running Facebook ads through Command, we make sure we are in compliance with everything. So since generally has some things to do with real estate, we want to respect fair housing and the rules that they put in place because they're fantastic. So that's why the smallest radius you can go is 15 miles. Once you pick the cities that you want, fantastic. Under the website, this is where you're going to decide where they go. When they interact with your ad, they fill out that information. Where do they go next? That's going to be where you're going to select landing page. And then from this dropdown, you should see your discover your home's worth in that page, in that dropdown somewhere. You'll select it. You'll proceed to the last step. Here, you'll set the duration. How long do you want this ad to run? And then you'll set your total budget. So typically a good rule of thumb is start with a 10-day ad at a $50 total budget. So that way it's $5 a day. You'll plug in your billing information, you'll purchase it, and within 24 hours, your ad will go live.
can you go back up a little bit?
Yeah.
To the website.
Yep, for sure. So when you're under your website, you'll select landing page. And then ideally, you should see a list of all the landing pages that are available on your website, if there are any that have been created.
Okay, so I probably didn't create one yet, because we just. did
That's
that.
correct. So yeah, so you're only gonna see landing pages that have been created. If they haven't been created yet, then there's gonna be nothing. So yeah, pretty much that's it. And that's the third step. Right? To recap, we quickly built and launched a home valuation page. We went through how it works and you understand the process. We identified that leads come through a specific lead source. We downloaded a smart plan and created a lead management rule that immediately identifies those leads and attaches it to a specific smart plan for automatic follow-up. And then we talked about how you can supercharge driving traffic to that page via paid ads. The best part, and I'll get to your question real quick. The best part about this type of ad is simple. Most of you, if you've ran any kind of ads through Command, you've been running listing ads on listings. You're like, hey, everyone says, run an ad on your listing. You just got a new listing. Hey, that's fantastic. The problem with that play is simple. If you don't have any new listings, you don't have any ads to run. This is what we refer to as an evergreen ad. Because this is not tied to a specific thing, such as a listing that has a time frame. This is tied to a action we want someone to take, which is to fill out a page. So once you launch one of these, it will now show up under your programs section here. And if you ever want to do it again, you can duplicate this ad again. You don't have to recreate it. You don't have to add a new social media graphic. You don't have to change anything. You can duplicate it, set a new duration and budget, hit the button, and it runs again. And you can run this play for as long or as short or as often as you want.
Okay, so, now, maybe because, you don't have listings, we can't talk about it, but I thought this connected to MLS.
So it does. So like if you have lists like, this is just running a ad to specifically push people to a specific page on Facebook.
Okay.
If you were to run, let's go back one step. If you were to select the boost the listing option, so we selected to promote events. But if you were to select the boost the listing option, this would then allow you, if you have listings, you should be able to pull your listings from here because this is gonna pull it from the local MLS.
Oh.
Right? So if you have listings attributed to you, they would appear in this list. You could then select that listing to then drive traffic to that. Does that make sense?
Josh, with the targeting, when it says include my database, that. What do you call that, like the.
Yeah, no, I
the
got you.
button, I
Can pull it up.
guess, Is that? I guess. My question, is that only the database that is inside that radius?
No, it targets outside of that as well. So when you click include your database, and what he's referring to is under the targeting section here. There's this little slider knob right here. You can say include my database. Now, of course, you'd have to, you target an audience, and the audience that you target is based upon a tag. So what this does is this pulls up a list of your tags from your command database. So if you want to include everyone with the contractor tag for some reason or whatever it is, it will try to target those people on Facebook and Instagram. How this works is based upon the email and or phone number. Generally, it's the email that is in your contact database. If that is the same email that they used to register their Facebook account that's tied, then this ad has a likelihood of showing up on their Facebook scroll on their wall when they're scrolling. Thing to keep in mind with this though, you have to add an audience you have to have one or more audiences, and the total number of targeted people has to be at least 100. You cannot specifically target 1 or 5 people doing this. It doesn't work that way. They need you have to have, because ultimately they're trying to prevent harassment. If you think about it, right? Like, my ex-girlfriend, she broke up with me and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just pay ads. She's gonna see my face on Facebook all the time, right? We're preventing that stuff. But go ahead. What additional questions do you have?
Yeah, thanks. I was just gonna ask, is there a limit? An upper limit, I guess, to that, like if you. Are sending it to, I don't know, 200-300 people in your database. If you're that lucky, and then there's 15 miles,
There's no limit on who it targets. The short answer is there's no limit on who it targets. Just keep in mind the way Facebook deducts from your bill. So this is how it works. I say, hey, Facebook, you're allowed to spend $5 a day. Right? Out of my bill, you spend $5 a day. Facebook charges you for each impression. So said another way, let's just say for some odd reason, you say, I want to target 10,000 people. That doesn't mean that all 10,000 of those people are going to see it in the first day, because you'll probably run out of that $5 budget before it can get through all 10,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the control, that's the balance. Now, what that ratio is, that's always a moving target, right? Facebook doesn't say, hey, it's a penny per impression, and it's that way. It's competition, the time of day, like anything in any ad expense. There's a range that it typically follows.
Do we know how they choose who they're gonna target, or is that just sort of like some?
It's
Information that Facebook owns?
so that's part of why what they target is legitimately people within 15 miles that have indicated that they're within 15 miles of whatever our targeted locations, and those are the people that get it. Because of fair housing, we can't target age, we can't target job, we can't target, race, we can't target gender, we can't target any of that stuff, right? So it's just a matter of this is the pond, and we're gonna try to get it in as many people and spend that $5 as we can.
Okay, and so we don't know how Facebook is determining who goes.
Well, yeah, it's what Facebook determines. I mean, like, if there's 10,000 people, how do they determine that it was the one person versus no?
Yeah.
Like from that perspective, there's not an insight into their algorithm that they say, hey, they go alphabetical. Or they go from the center of the point out, like we don't, there's not.
Right. Yeah, so that's just a question of like
Yeah,
dollar efficiency.
yeah.
Which makes sense, but
Here would be my best guess, if I were to guess. Obviously, they can only show it to people that are on Facebook. So they prioritize people that are on Facebook that indicated that they're within that radius. They're gonna show it to them as many times as they possibly can to hit those impressions to spend that 5 months.
is that their residents or that they're
It's a great question. So
online?
from what I understand, the way it works, it does two things. It bases it on where they identify where they are inside of Facebook. You know, on Facebook, you say, hey, I live
Yeah.
in blah, blah, blah. And if Facebook has GPS locations of where because Facebook tracks wherever, or every time you log into Facebook, Facebook knows where you are. Right? It bases it off of that as well. So if someone's in the area, they're gonna try to geolocation basically and hammer those people inside of it.
Okay, thank you, that's exactly.
Yeah, great questions. Outside of that, that's it. So any other questions, concerns, criticisms, compliments?
Good job.
Great class, can we have this once a week?
Well, that's.
I mean, I find it very hard to navigate through something like this through Scott Leroy.
Sure,
It just tells on my age. I'm not very digital. And I prefer to have somebody teach it. And, you know, I've been with Keller for 3 years. There's a lot about command I don't utilize,
Sure.
use. And great class, yeah.
well, what I will tell you, the best steps to get that kind of support, obviously start with your leadership.
Yeah.
And your leadership knows how to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
So if there's ever a moment, anybody in this room wants to connect with me, and one of the things just to keep in mind, I always tell everyone, I do work for the region, so I serve the entire region. That's 24 market centers, about 5,000 agents, and I'm also the RTT for the Oklahoma region as well, which is 8 market centers and about 1,600. If you're willing to work around my schedule, in a sense, my schedule's pretty packed a lot, but if you schedule in advance for a Zoom, I'm more than happy to hop on a call with any of you guys. And we can spend some Zoom time and go through some stuff on a one-on-one basis if it makes the most sense for your business. You just have to you have to work around my schedule.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you recommend for like, just when looking at this marketing? I went to Facebook and for some reason it doesn't pull my personal page and I need some navigation through reorging how my Facebook links. Who would be my resource for that stuff?
I mean, as always, like the boilerplate answer is start with your leadership, ask the
Yeah.
questions of your leadership to see what resources they have available to you. But then also, I'd be more than happy to at least do a deep dive with you
Okay.
to see one of the things I can promise you is that I may not have the answer, but I may be able to point you in the right direction. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Outside of that, I'm here for a little bit longer. If you guys want to hang out, ask questions, or if you want to get out of here, I understand too. I talked a lot. And if you caught glimpses of my bald spot, it was making me sad.
I'm gonna ask another question.
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry, everyone, but so I think earlier you mentioned Scott Leroy that we're gonna touch on that, and maybe I missed it.
So that's just because the part of that was simple. So some of our market centers don't have Scott Leroy as a resource.
Okay,
So they don't have the home valuation page already set up. So that's where it was just easier to say, hey, you may have Scott Leroy, so it may already be set up because that's part of their onboarding process. I was gonna walk you through it regardless, just in case Scott Leroy had missed someone,
okay,
so that way we had the same foundation. Does that make sense?
yeah, gotcha.
Thank you, great class.
And was there?
Take care.
Were there another, I'm trying to say, like, for other things that it might be sending out through the automated plans, are there other Scott Leroy resources
So I'm not intimately familiar with Scott Leroy is a third-party service, so I'm not intimately familiar with what they offer. I do know this, that your market center should have either a website you can go to that lists all the resources Scott Leroy offers.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was like kind of like an integration.
No, I mean, the integration is basically that Scott and his team, they've done a great job building a lot of great resources to help support market centers, especially with agent onboarding and taking advantage of some of the tools. Scott Leroy has a fantastic One thing I will mention that I've seen from Scott is his team does a pretty good job creating training videos that walk through a lot of the things on how to use stuff inside of Command. What's really cool about his videos, and you can easily find them on his website, his YouTube channel, I believe, but your Mark Center will have access to those resources. He does a great job of trying to have short and to the point training videos, not a 2-hour video that talks about the one thing you want 35 minutes into it, and then you lost your thought. Like, dang it, that's what I wanted. He does a good job of trying to break things down in a bite-sized package. For stuff like that.
Okay.
You're
You
welcome.
mentioned this piece is going to be recorded.
I believe it
Who will
is.
Find it.
That's gonna be a great question for, Lauren. Lauren, that's a great question. That's gonna be a question for her. Because this is all done through the Market Center's